recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios, Meanjin, Brisbane.
On 102.1 FM.
And broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Zed Games.
Zed Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture. Want to reach out?
Share your hot take?
Or do you just want to share your favourite game?
Find us on socials at Zed Games AU.
This is Zed Games. I'm your host, Paul, and I'm a little raspy, but that's okay. Joining me tonight are my excellent friends, Tom, and just here in the nick of time, Melee.
That's
what
me.
Up?
I've been here for an hour. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Paul's a liar. Don't trust him.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, like, that is well documented as well. So it's irrelevant to the case at hand, but yeah. How are we all going?
Good.
Yeah.
Feeling good.
Well, what an exciting response.
Yeah. Video games.
How are you doing then?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm technically sick, but
fully sick.
Disgusting.
Well, yeah, I'm fully sick. I'm chucking oh no.
Say something really cool.
I was going to say a skateboard trick, but I'm not a skater.
Ollie 360
It's fine.
roundabout smash.
Sweet.
That's probably something.
Isn't there a Jesus one?
The Christ Air.
Christ Air. That's
the
what
coolest
I was thinking of.
move. That's in the trailer for the.
Yeah.
You got to get that in.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's because I'd heard it was the coolest move, and then I'm like, but I'm also so uncool that I can't reference it quickly enough. I'm like, quickly, get to me, Alta Vista. I'm going to get to you as fast as I can go. Well, if we're going to talk about some games, how about we get into a little bit of what we call gaming news. Up to date, we have had an exciting week in the world of classification. Silent Hill F got banned.
Yeah.
And people threw up their arms, and I went and looked at the ban, and I noticed a little thing, which was that this classification, well, not banned, refused classification in Australia, that this ban didn't come from the classification board. It came from the automated tool, the IARC, the International Age Rating Coalition, which is just a questionnaire that devs fill out themselves. And in the case it gets to our board, if the tick box has been ticked wrong in something, it's just automatically put there. So my assumption was nobody had actually looked at it. And that seemed to come to pass when a few days later I received the following message. The following can be attributed to a spokesperson of the classification board. Silent Hill F is not currently classified as refused classification in Australia. The 14th of March entry in the National Classification Database has been removed. A classification decision will be published. Beforehand. Yeah, I don't have to do the whole sentence.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, it did get banned because they ticked some tick boxes, which means it could still be refused classification, but not yet.
Yeah, they ticked the too scary box.
Yeah, well,
definitely.
It's going to be too scary.
The big things in Australia are drug references, which that hasn't been something that's come up about it, but there are apparently themes of child abuse and things like that, so that can quickly cross over, especially if there's any sexual themes around as well. But also they have been better. They have had a little bit more leeway in giving things context. Yeah, because I'm sure we've spoken about it before, but the classification board, when they added R ratings, they didn't change what was allowed. They just changed the intensity of what was allowed. But from that, we've also had quite a few ones that have been turned over because it's like, okay, technically it's against our rules, but it's dumb. So we'll see. It might not be dumb. It might be completely warranted, and we all have to pretend that we're in a different country if we want to. Speaking of the bureaucracy and such, the EU has cracked down on predatory practices in games.
About time.
Yes. This was mainly put out as most people reported it on rules about not being able to obfuscate the cost of things in games with their fake currencies. So, making sure people are aware of what they're actually doing. But there were a few other things that I thought were interesting as well. Direct appeals to children in the advertisements. The use of pressuring techniques such as time-limited practices. I think that was one that sort of got glossed over a lot because there is a lot of using FOMO as a thing to get people to buy.
Yep.
It's really going to change the ecosystem of a few games, at least in the EU, if they don't take it out past that. And also just being sure that any influencers being promoted are properly disclosing that. Because it's still a bit of a wild west out there with the whole influencer culture. And
I do have a question about this.
of course, I love a question.
I'm not sure if you know the answer, but is this just games aimed at children or all games?
Like
if it was an R game, children aren't meant to be playing that at all. Can you be really messy?
I do
with
not know that off the top of my head, actually. That
Okay.
is a good question.
But those R-rated games generally aren't the kinds of ones that have those like microtransactions
Typically
and battle
not.
passes and stuff.
But I'm sure there's some.
Yeah, there was that failed Resident Evil multiplayer online game that could have possibly had a similar sort of limited time battle pass. Get cool Leon from Resident Evil 4 on the PS2.
All Leons are cool.
Agree to disagree.
Yes, so, but good points all round there. Somehow, Game Informer has returned the classic magazine Game Informer that was owned by GameSpot, and everyone was let go on the staff about a year ago, I think it was. It is now being bought by Gunzilla Games, and you might be saying, what is Gunzilla Games? Gunzilla Games is a developer that has made one mobile game full of NFTs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this is really interesting because they have hired back apparently the entire old staff, which seems weird because some of them I know had other jobs, and they have been guaranteed independence from their owner. So possibly tech bros like using the power they've got from all their angel investors and such to do something kind of nice and hopefully turning it into a profitable business. But we'll see if the magazine comes out. Also, the website as well. They brought back a lot of the old content. But if it was also filled with NFT advertisements, we'll see.
It could be just that it comes back and you know what? Instead of like getting the official like art for a Mario or a Sonic on the cover, what if let's just put it into the AI image generator? It's like
maybe. I don't think they'd go that far, but I do think if there is, if Game Informer themselves are just on the editorial side and then the advertising side is controlled by the other company, which I don't know. It might not be.
I mean, I think the first issue back, if the magazine does come to fruition,
because
it
they
will
want to
be
bring
a
it back
success.
physically, but it may not. Well, yeah, I would be interested in it. There's something about magazines which is really interesting. I have a lot of old magazines, and it's not just that you go back and, I remember that. It gives you a timeline of attitudes and when things came out and when things changed.
Oh, yeah.
Like, one of my magazines that I like going back and read had a really early preview of Quake when it was an RPG. And it's like, okay, cool. And you can sort of see it transform until it came out and everything. Yeah. So I like that because you get a physical sense of how things actually change over time instead of just typing it in and saying, Quake looks like a classic game. Great.
Yeah, a little time capsule.
Speaking of things coming back, the recent announcement of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4 originally said that it was not going to include the skater Bam. What's Bam's last name? How do you pronounce
Bam
his
Margera?
Margera?
Also,
I only say Bam when I talk about him.
Also of Jackass fame.
Yes, of that. And that is interesting. But now he has been put back in the game, which is kind of important because he was kind of the protagonist in many ways. So Tony Hawk apparently went out of his way to make sure that they included him. He has a very rough history with drug use and abuse of sort of his old skaters and cast members and everything, but currently is trying to turn things around and be a better person. So it's nice to see that, like, hey, let's respect the legacy of what it is and still respect him as a human being, which is nice. It's good to see him come in.
Yeah, for sure.
Just some little things. We are going to have a Nintendo Direct tonight at 1 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Will you be up watching it?
Yeah. I thought it was actually not going to be until midday yesterday. I got my conversions wrong. So it's interestingly, in 6 days we get the Switch 2 reveal of like software and what we actually are going to do with it.
Yeah.
This is a Switch 1 Nintendo Direct, not an indie Direct, not a partners Direct. it's one of their like main shows.
They're so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of speculation. The one that I've just latched onto just for fun is that there was also a rumor that Metroid Prime 4 was not going to be part of the Switch 2 reveal, because it is still apparently essentially a Switch 1 game. So maybe it gets to shine at 1 a.m. tonight. We'll find out.
Yeah.
And of course, Silksong. It'll definitely be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing your posts about it in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Your messages, yeah.
Well, look, Paul was trying to talk to everyone, and everyone else was asleep.
Because it was 1 a.m.
Yeah. 1 a.m.'s not
Oh,
late or
I was
early.
I wasn't asleep. I was just not responding because I don't want to admit that I was up at 1 a.m. when I shouldn't have been.
Like a sane person. You have
Yeah.
shame.
Yeah.
And that just brings us to a couple of game releases coming out in the next week. Tomorrow we shall see Atomfall drop for PlayStation platforms, Xbox platforms, and PC. That's the cool sort of, call it T-punk. That's what I want to go for. Sort of like Fallout, but in Britain.
Yep.
With some robots and tea. A Rebellion joint.
Yeah.
Rebellion's been around for a long time. The Bubble Ghost remake. Little platformer with a bubble and a ghost. Very exciting. And the first Berserker, Kazan, comes out to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Also, Bubble Ghost comes out to Switch and PC. And then, on April 3rd, we get, of course, the big heavy hitter, Croc, Legend of the Gobbos, coming out to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And I went, because, a lot of these dates are American, so I want to check the release date Australian before I say days. And I went to check, and it's not on Steam.
Oh, really?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
It's not on
Is
Epic.
it Itch?
It's not, no.
It's
on GOG.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is a good old game.
Yeah, it's exclusively on GOG.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. There's also like a crazy physical package if you're an insane person that wants a Croc statue and stuff. It's like $200.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it because I don't even like Croc. No, it's great.
I follow Argonaut on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
And
the Everything app.
Yeah, the Everything app. And they had a little video that was a small showcase of possible merch, and they're like, what do you guys want? And there was one that was like a full denim jacket with Croc on the back, and they're like, what do you guys think about this? I'm like, I would vote yes on that. I will never buy it. That's because they'll probably charge an exorbitant amount.
Course.
But I need someone to be out there with a Croc denim jacket.
That would be lovely.
Yeah.
And that pretty much brings us to the end of the news. Oh, very exciting.
So you're listening to Zed Games, is that it?
You're listening to Zed Games.
You're listening to Zed Games.
Hello, you're listening to Zed Games.
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 Perfect. Thank you.
And this is Zed Games. Joining me are, of course, Melee and Tom. How could I do the show without you two?
You couldn't.
I think you could.
I don't
believe
think
in
you could. I don't think you could.
Look, listen to me. I believe in you.
I don't. Listen to me, Paul. I don't.
I just like the people are talking about me.
See, he needs us here to talk.
Yeah.
I'm a needy guy.
That was a beautiful song. Good job.
Thank you. Okay, we are here to review a game called Wanderstop. Now, Wanderstop was revealed last year or sometime, and it showed off. It said, look, here's a cozy game about running a tea shop and making tea. And I went, I don't care. And then the name Ivy Road show went on screen, and Davey Redden, and I'm like, I care an incredible amount right now. Davey Redden, for people that do not know, is known for making The Stanley Parable and The Beginner's Guide, two games I consider masterpieces. So this is his third major release, and so we saw the tea shop, and it ends with the main character obviously has some dark past. And we're like, what's the twist going to be? Where are we going to go? And as more was revealed about the game, it became painfully apparent in some places that no, it's a game about making tea. And it is a game about making tea. And you are a fighter. That is your background. And the game starts with that. You enter, you're running, you've you are undefeated. You work so hard your entire life. You've defeated. It seems that it's like combat fighting. It's not like wars or anything. And suddenly you've had a failure, and then you get up and you have a few more, and you're like, I need to go. I need to find this master in the forest. So you run out, and as you're running out, trying to find anything, you collapse, and this lovely big joyful man, he wakes you up. He's taking you to his tea shop. This is Wanderstop, and you're free to go, and you do try to go, and you just pass out again in the forest, and he comes and brings you back. It's like, oh, it's okay. Why don't you stay here and make tea? It's like, okay, because I can't lift my sword, because every time I try to touch it, I can't physically lift it. And I keep passing out and having terrible feelings in my body. Okay, I guess I'll stay here for a while because I don't have much choice. And this game is a cozy tea making game, and it is also the anti-cozy tea making game. It's really interesting, and sort of some of the most interesting things I can't really discuss in a review, not because they're spoilers, but because you sort of have to have an overall picture of the whole game. All the things you would expect in one of these like cozy farmy things are there. You can go and plant crops. You know, you get all people come in and they give you their request.
I can hear the sound of the teacup clinking.
The teacups are great. As a side diversion, one of the best things about the teacups, once someone's finished their tea, you can pick it up, and the washing machine is a little train that goes through a waterfall, and then it deposits the teacup in the next room.
So whimsical.
Whimsical is an excellent description of the game. It is beautiful. It is not high, technologically with its graphical presentation, but it is really colourful. The world around the tea shop is just really nice to explore, and you feel good moving in it. But like as I said, the crop growing. You plant seeds. If you plant seeds in certain patterns, different plants will grow. And when you're first being shown this, Burrow's like, oh, well, you can plant here in the garden. You can also plant anywhere you want. It's just nice in the garden. And that sort of sets the tone, because if you want to, min-max this game, you can't. It's not interested in rewarding that. You could grow the biggest forest of tea fruit and everything in the world, and then sort of the game would move on later, and they'd all just disappear, and you're not rewarded for it. You might get a task. One of the early tasks is like, oh, could you take photos to fill in all the frames? Oh, good, I've completed my mission. What do I get for it? You get, oh, that is nice, isn't it? The first person that comes to you, and you go, hey, you're here. What tea can I get you? I'm going to get this game going now. And they say, nah, I don't really want tea. I just want to sit around for a while. You're like, and your character is just like, no, this is a tea shop. You come for tea. And while there are dialogue options for your character, they are just her personality. So they are mostly, especially at the beginning, aggressive and sarcastic, and like you can't go like the nice playthrough, because the nice playthrough is probably just being really facetious and like making fun of people behind the back. And it's also like you said, most games where it's serving people, be like, cool, and now the timer's going down, and if I get it right, I'll get a pop point. Nah, take hours if you want to give them their tea. It doesn't matter. Experiment. Give them something else. After you've made them a tea, there's a little bit of tea left. Maybe you'll try some. And different teas will give you different memories, because you had to sit down on a bench or something to drink it. And as you do that, it'll show you like a nice scenic shot of where you are, and you're in your head and just all remembering things about your past. And it is a narrative game. It is undoubtedly a narrative game. It is not a cafe simulator. It's not interested in that. That said, making tea is great. There's this cool whimsical machine in the middle. You've got to climb up ladders that you can slide back and forth to go up and drop the water in, and then kick the valve open and all. It's very physical. It feels really nice to make tea, but like you're never going to be swamped with customers or anything. And it just has a really interesting tone where people will come and you'll talk to them, you get to know them, and they go and come back sometimes. But also, Wanderstop doesn't seem to exist in any sort of understandable chronology in the world around it. So someone might leave and literally come back 5 minutes later, but they've actually been gone for weeks, and their personality is quite changed. At its core, it is a game about burnout and anxiety and pushing yourself, and it explores those things in very many ways, different nuanced ways. It doesn't have a big like, well, this is our thesis on how you cure burnout. It's not really preachy. It just sort of lets these characters exist and explore. And yeah, it is like there's so many tasks to do. Sweeping things up, cutting down weeds, all these things. There's no reward for any of them other than if you wanted to do it, which is an interesting thing to make you think about why you're playing games in the first place. It's like, well, do I need that carrot on the stick? Is that why I've just made a giant field of corn and I can sell it for 3 cents extra if I go over to the next town and go there? My number went up. You'll never get a better watering can. Watering can is very cute, by the way. Also, there's no time. Like, if you plant a plant, it just appears. You water it, the fruit just goes boop. So there's no time management.
Thank God.
Yeah, it is the anti-cozy game while still being an incredibly cozy game with very rich, likable characters that you don't always have a nice relationship with them. People disappoint each other and bad things happen. It's not like horrible genocides or anything, but it is full on emotionally, and that's and characters often don't finish their arcs because they leave, and that's part of it. And you get really frustrated with like that earlier in the game. It's like, but there was more to do. It's like, they're gone. What you gonna do? Let's make some tea if you feel like it. Otherwise, you could design. One of the other things is you can it's not a very funny game. That said, Davey's a very funny writer. So there are a lot of like funny little quips and stuff and interesting characters. Now, last night, because I lost my voice, I was like, what can I do with a very bad gravelly voice? I know. I can read the first chapter of the detective novel that's inside Wanderstop. I'm just going to chuck a little a short section of it right here.
Dirk Warhard stepped back into the party, where the guests were in a panic over the sound of the explosion and gunshots. They turned and froze as he entered the room, dripping with Samantha Keylight. Dirk Warhard strode confidently towards the nearest servant holding a tray, grabbed a shrimp cocktail, and stuffed it into his mouth with beastly vigor. Someone in the crowd yelled, "Oh my God, it's Dirk Warhard!" Dirk Warhard attempted to yell, "What you didn't know is, I'm actually Dirk Warhard." But his mouth was too full of shrimp, so instead he just fired his gun into the air several times. The partygoers began cheering and making out with each other. Then the president emerged from the crowd. "Dirk Warhard," said the president, "you saved us once again. I award you $10,000 cash." The crowd cheered again, and Dirk Warhard still couldn't speak, so he kept firing his gun. One of the bullets accidentally hit the president, who gave the thumbs up as he bled out, grateful to have been killed by the famous Dirk Warhard. But the president's death didn't bother Dirk Warhard. He knew there would always be another president, but there would never be another Dirk Warhard. Yeah, so Dirk Warhard's pretty cool. And thank you, lack of voice. But yeah, so I just did that just for fun. Also, if I couldn't come in, I had something that people could play. But it's a game with lots of things you can choose to do in it. So that novel, like each sort of chapter, you get another chapter of the book and you sit there and, spend 5-10 minutes reading the next chapter. Oh, this is very funny. Or you cannot. It's a very rich game which doesn't reward the parts of your brain that make us play most games. Which means a lot of people probably will not like playing it because it doesn't give you those nice feelings. It's just like, but in that, it's obviously, you can say, oh, it's clever, I get it, but are you actually having fun? And I don't necessarily think it's the most moment-to-moment fun game to play, but I do like thinking about it, and I do enjoy my time in it, and I actually took a much longer time to play it because I just kept stopping when I felt like it. I was like, no, I don't. The idea of pushing myself through a game about trying to not burn yourself out.
We got deadlines.
Exactly. So yeah, I highly recommend it if those ideas appeal to you. If you actually want a cozy farming cafe simulator, no, it is not for you, unless you want to be suddenly become very introspective. So yes, that was Wanderstop. I'm not sure if I did, but I feel that I always keep calling it Wonder Song, which is a different game that's also wonderful. And now, Tom, you've got a little treat for us. Number Vroom. It's a bus on the highway.
Drive my car with the arrow keys.
Just like a desert bus.
Yeah, one of the greats.
Hi, Tom.
Hey. So the game I'm going to review for you all today is a game called Keep Driving. So there's a lot of video games that I feel aim to elicit an emotional response. Horror games want you to feel anxious. Action games want you to feel excited and thrilled. Visual novels may attempt to intrigue or arouse you. And some games will try to make you feel nostalgic. And there are different flavors of that. A lot of them are making you feel nostalgic for old games or for like a simpler time. Keep Driving is a game that is obsessed with nostalgia, but it's in a way where it wants you to feel nostalgic for a memory that isn't yours, but it could have been. So the setting of the game, you are in your late teens, early 20s, possibly at college. It's up to you. And it's the early 2000s. You've just gotten your first car, and your friend who lives across the country has invited you to join them at a music festival. So you pack up your car, you choose your starting gear, and you get driving. Now, Keep Driving is a RPG at its core. It reminds me a little bit of Oregon Trail in a way, because there is a lot of inventory management. But it is a very chill, vibe-based game. It's got some lo-fi 2D graphics that I adore. And it's got an indie soundtrack with lots of cool indie bands and rock. Lots of chill, low-key vibes while you're driving. Typical driving music. And the gameplay loop is you start from your home, you choose the road that you're going to move forward to, and you encounter, you will run into different issues on the road. Things like potholes in the road, or maybe you've got a guy who's tailgating you, or possibly you get stuck behind a tractor. And the way that you deal with these in the games is through a turn-based battle where you use your driving skills or the items in your glove box to eliminate these threats. And it's generally a very simple turn-based RPG where you're just kind of using these skills that eliminate these threats that will target different parts of your car and well-being, be it your energy, be it your car's durability, your remaining gas, or God forbid your wallet. And these abilities you will unlock with skill points as you progress through the game. And yeah, so you beat these.
Yeah, I think kind of the Oregon Trail comparison is really good with it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's going on this journey. It's stop to stop. You're building a story as you go along. In that, every time you start the game, you're having a different run through there. You get it. And it's, as you say, it's not necessarily a nostalgia for your own experiences, but it's that kind of like that almost famous nostalgia where you're like, okay, I have actually no connection to that music scene or time or anything at all, but there's some sort of like base social cues there, and especially just like driving with friends listening to music and something goes wrong. I mean, and it's you work through it, you use your resources that you have at hand, and you get past it. So when you land in, you'll come across truck stops, you'll come across small towns and cities where you can pick up work or go exploring, and you can soup up your car. You can buy some upgrades, be it tires that are better for driving on country roads. You can bumper stickers,
absolutely. You can get some cool decals on the side of your car. One of the my favorite different things that you can upgrade your car with are various bobbleheads that you put into your little onto your dashboard. The first one you come across, of course, is the classic hula dancer.
Of course.
But where the game gets really interesting for me is the fact that you have this overarching goal to get to the music festival. But it's so easy to get sidetracked because on your drive, you get to come across hitchhikers. And IRL, I'm not sure if I would recommend many people pick up hitchhikers. That's up to your own discretion. I personally wouldn't, but in this game you want to, because these
the 2000s.
Yeah,
It's different.
People didn't know. You've got a Nokia phone.
You can play Snake
limited
to pass the
information.
time.
Yeah. But you'll pick up these hitchhikers, and they're all different flavors of people. They have their own story. They have their own abilities that can help you on the road. And I grew very attached to them, and the writing is actually very interesting. They have a little bio when you pick them up with a very simple name. The first one I came across in my original run was The Sleeper, which is just a man who is in his late 20s. And his one downside is that he falls asleep sometimes. He's just a sleepy guy.
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's
fine.
not a downside.
It's not a downside
Let him live
at
his
all.
life.
Except for when you need his cool skills on the road and he's fallen asleep and oh my god, you have to use your own. I quite liked the punk. That was a great hitchhiker. The punk has the one downside that he has a dog with him. So that takes up a second space in your car. So,
But dog.
but you get a dog.
Yeah.
So amongst like different management of skills, your resources also include your car seats, your trunk space.
Can you get beaded seat cushion?
Yeah.
Are there negative hitchhikers, like people that you pick up
Cannibals.
and have bad... Well, I don't assume anyone's going to kill you, but you don't really want them there. They have a negative effects, but you're too awkward to...
Well, as you
know.
can always abandon the hitchhikers, and
Oh,
there is no
nice.
downside to kicking
Leave
them out
them
of your
in the
car.
middle of nowhere.
And there's some have some pretty significant downsides. So as you level up the hitchhikers, they each get a new ability and also a new trait, which is often a downside. So, for example, I picked up the punk, who starts off with the dog. And the dog is the downside. And then as you level up the punk, even though they've got great abilities, the next ability is that he is straight edge and will get upset if you use drugs.
Oh, that
or
is a
alcohol.
disappointing hitchhiker.
Classic punk.
So, classic punk. But when you fully level him up, his last ability is that he gives you the dog, essentially. The dog becomes a possible hitchhiker. So
And to be fair, I would
abilities.
be upset if someone was driving me around and then they started drinking or doing drugs while driving me around.
Yeah,
I'm actually
it was a different
on the
time,
punk
Ailey.
side.
Yeah.
Different time.
I was...
Now I've only played the demo of it. Like how long would you is like a run, and how much variety is in there, do you think?
So in my first run, I played the main story, which is I picked up a few hitchhikers, completed a few of their side quests by driving them to where they went. There's also no downside to not taking them to where they want to go. They'll just sit with you. And by the time I got to the music festival at the end, I think there was about 4 hours with me playing very casually. Like I stopped for meals. I didn't really pause the game or anything. It's a very cruisy experience. And then it immediately says, hey, you've unlocked a different kind of starting car. Do you want to go again? And I said, you know what? I will start again. And along the way, I did get an optional quest to be a rally driver. So on my second run, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a rally driver. And then my first hitchhiker I picked up was the mechanic. And he was like, hey, we're going to turn this into the best car on the road. So there are multiple different endings. I think the fastest run I had only lasted about 10 minutes. That was, I picked up my first hitchhiker, which was called The Hiker. It's just a mountain man. And I drank a beer whilst driving, and he said, hey man, that's really not cool.
Yeah,
that's not on. And I'm like, but the game keeps giving me beers. What am I going to do? And then I immediately got pulled over by the cops and had an almost unwinnable battle. It might be winnable in the late game, but early on, I did not win it. And then I got the incarcerated ending.
Chuck a dog at them.
Yeah. The ending was just like, well, that was your road trip. You got about 2 stops out of your hometown, and you ended up in jail.
Good job.
So, yeah, there's a lot of different things. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a very chill, cruisy game, and it made me wish I went on more road trips when I was younger and stupid.
Sounds good.
Don't drink and drive, though.
Exactly.
Fortitude Valley's Netherworld presents Lost Souls Karaoke. Sing for your soul in one of 5 private air-conditioned karaoke realms newly unearthed within the bar, arcade and diner. Book a room and put your soul on the line from Tuesday to Sunday via lostsoulskaraoke.com. Netherworld and Lost Souls Karaoke are proud sponsors of 4ZZZ.
This is Zed Games. I am Paul. That is Melee, and that is Tom. And we're about to say goodnight. But before we do that, Tom has some important housekeeping.
Yes. This weekend at Netherworld, we are celebrating all things Pokemon. Come on down, try some Pokemon-themed menu items. And if you're around tonight, we have a Pokemon-themed band performing. And on Saturday, we're going to have a little gym leader challenge. Come and try your luck against Netherworld's gym leaders of different various Pokemon spin-offs and card games. So,
exciting for all you Pokemon and Poke women. And poker theys, I guess.
Poker them?
I couldn't poker them. Oh my god, that was so much obvious.
Poker they? That's terrible.
Just say trainers.
I'm sick. No, fine.
No, it's funner to say poker them.
Yeah, poker them. I am definitely down with the poker them now. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you all again. Same bat time, same bat channel. Good night.
Thanks for listening to Zed Games. If you'd like to listen to more, you can find us on the Community Radio Plus app
Or find us on socials at ZED Games AU.
See you next time.
It was just another typical day for Dirk Warhard. Dirk Warhard had been undercover for 13 weeks. In that time, he hadn't showered, shaved, or eaten a single time. This was the Dirk Warhard undercover method. The Dirk Warhard undercover method was a living hell for the initial 4 weeks, but on week 5, without fail, his body would begin to buzz with a feverish euphoria and a rigorous alertness that gave him the edge he needed to succeed. Because of the adrenaline it produced, he also hadn't slept in a month. His skull vibrated with a cocktail blend of indiscriminate rage and an unquenchable passion for justice. Time to get to work. Dirk Warhead's undercover persona was that of Bobby Briggleston, playboy billionaire heir to the Briggleston family media empire. In fact, Dirk Warhard himself was a billionaire playboy, much wealthier than his undercover persona, but he'd play any role if it meant getting the job done. A wealthy local socialite was hosting a charity gala in her mansion home, which Dirk Warhead had been instructed to infiltrate. His limousine pulled into the mansion driveway around midday. As he stepped out of the limo, the sun shone brightly into his eyes. Dirk Warhard hated the sun more than he hated anything in the world. He had been told many times to stop looking directly into the sun, but to turn his back on an enemy was cowardice he could never forgive. Pulsing with rage from the Dirk Warhard undercover method, Dirk Warhard pulled his pistol from his tuxedo jacket and fired 10 rounds directly into the heart of the sun. Case closed. He holstered the pistol and stepped into the party. Shortly after entering, he was met by the host, Samantha Keylight. She was his target, a known perpetrator of underground organized crime, and the person from whom he was to extract sensitive information. "Howdy," he said to her. "My name is Bobby Briggleston." But his name was not Bobby Briggleston. That was only his undercover alias. His name was Dirk Warhard. Dirk Warhard thought to himself, "I'm Dirk Warhard." Then he continued the conversation. "Mr. Briggleston, it is a pleasure of pleasures to finally meet you," exclaimed Samantha Keylight. "I've heard so much about you from our mutual friend." The mutual friend she spoke of was Dirk Warhard's handler, who briefed him on every mission. Dirk Warhard did not know this man's name, because Dirk Warhard disliked learning names. The only name he knew for certain was Dirk Warhard, and even that was written on a card in his wallet for emergencies. A man in a servant's outfit approached them with a tray of shrimp cocktails. "Orders?" The sight of food thrilled and angered Dirk Warhard. Hunger raged in his stomach, but he couldn't risk the mission. He stepped very close to the man holding the tray and subtly pressed his pistol into the man's sternum. "You'll remove the food immediately, and you'll never show your face in this city again." The man began trembling violently. then nodded and turned for the exit. Dirk Warhard fired a warning shot at his feet just to scare him. A hush fell over the entire party, but Dirk Warhard coolly holstered his pistol and said, "Saw some asbestos." The partygoers all nodded in appreciation, and a few began applauding. "Now then," declared Samantha Keylight, "may I show you around my home? A man of your distinction will surely admire my collection of art." "That's right," replied Dirk Warhead. "I am a man." And he was. The two of them stepped into an adjacent room, which was empty but for the paintings hung on every wall. "Van Dawson's mostly," said Samantha Keylight, "though some on the far wall are by Ferriot. Do you have a favorite artist, Mr. Briggleston?" Because there was only one name that Dirk Warhard truly knew, he replied, "Dirk Warhard." Several of the paintings looked to Dirk Warhard like food. To suppress the anger it aroused in him, he tore one of the paintings clean in half. "Asbestos," he explained. "Mr. Briggleston," said Samantha Keylight, "I do not invite you here simply to admire my art collection, nor to rid my home of asbestos. In fact, there is one particular piece of art I wish to show you that I think you'll find very interesting." Dirk Warhard responded well to this statement, because he liked it when people gave him things that interested him. Samantha Keylight pulled a small parcel from a shelf, then turned to Dirk Warhard. But the parcel was not a piece of art, it was a gun. She pointed it at him. "That's right! I know exactly who you are, Dirk Warhard." Dirk Warhard quietly retrieved his wallet and checked the card inside. She was correct. "You didn't think you'd fool me with this Bobby Briggleston nonsense, did you? I'd know your scummy face anywhere." Samantha Keylight fixed the gun to his temples. "Tell me who sent you, or the next piece to hang on my wall will be your brains." Time slowed to a crawl. Dirk Warhard played through every possible outcome of the situation in his mind, tactically assessing thousands of different strategic maneuvers. His mind raced with the efficiency of a cheetah nailed to a missile. After a mere half-second, which to Dirk Warhard felt like hours, the only strategy with even a glimmer of hope was clear to him. "Well," snarled Samantha Keylight, "what's it going to be? Are you going to start talking, or do I have to?" Samantha Keylight exploded. Blood and innards splattered across every inch of the room, drenching the various works of art and substantially lowering their value at auction. Dirk Warhard wiped a finger from his eyes. Weeks ago, he had secretly planted a bomb inside Samantha Keylight, triggered by a switch inside the ring on his left hand. This was one of Dirk Warhard's signature techniques. It had saved him dozens of times. He stepped over to where he vaguely recalled she had been standing, then adjusted his shirt cuffs and said, "What you didn't know is, my name is actually Dirk Warhard." Then he pulled out his pistol and said it again while holding the pistol, which he decided was cooler. He repeated it while firing the gun several times, and that felt coolest of all. Dirk Warhard still had no idea what role Samantha Keylight played in the perpetration of organized crime, but it wasn't his job to know things. The less Dirk Warhard knew, the more quickly he completed each mission, and this one had been done in record time. He pressed the mechanical implant on his neck to inform his handler the mission was a success. Dirk Warhard stepped back into the party, where the guests were in a panic over the sound of the explosion and gunshots. They turned and froze as he entered the room, dripping with Samantha Keylight. Dirk Warhard strode confidently towards the nearest servant holding a tray, grabbed a shrimp cocktail, and stuffed it into his mouth with beastly vigor. Someone in the crowd yelled, "Oh my God, it's Dirk Warhard!" Dirk Warhard attempted to yell, "What you didn't know is, I'm actually Dirk Warhard." But his mouth was too full of shrimp, so instead he just fired his gun into the air several times. The partygoers began cheering and making out with each other. Then the president emerged from the crowd. "Dirk Warhard," said the president, "you saved us once again. I award you $10,000 cash." The crowd cheered again, and Dirk Warhard still couldn't speak, so he kept firing his gun. One of the bullets accidentally hit the president, who gave the thumbs up as he bled out, grateful to have been killed by the famous Dirk Warhard. But the president's death didn't bother Dirk Warhard. He knew there would always be another president, but there would never be another Dirk Warhard. He stuffed another shrimp into his mouth, then crowd surfed his way back to the limo as he yelled his famous catchphrase, "Nobody survives Dirk Warhard." Justice, as cold as the shrimp. It was just another typical day for Dirk Warhard.